So you are the common denominator for your success in your business. And here's the thing, there is a formula for your success. And it starts with you. You're the common denominator, and you need to have a powerful practice that you're doing every single day, that it's going to align you to your vision, your mission, and purpose. My next guest on today's La Dolce Vita, the formula for fabulous living, is going to share her formula for having a very powerful self-care practice that you can do every single day for yourself and be inspired in your business. So stay tuned.
Frankie Lee, dimmi, qual è senso della vita?
The meaning of life is to live la dolce vita, which is the formula for fabulous living.
Hi, my name is Heather Picken, and welcome to the La Dolce Vita Show, the formula for fabulous living. I'm the catalyst in helping you to be more confident, create your dream business, and attract elite clients and live a fabulous life. Here's Heather helping you to upgrade your life to
Fabulous. Upgrade your life to fabulous. Right, Frankie? You're fabulous.
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of La Dolce Vita, the formula for fabulous living. Yes, there is a formula that you can follow to be successful in your business, to really live a fulfilling life. And I have people all over the world. I interview them on specific subjects, not only business, because you know me is helping you to lead your business, create an online global presence, but, you know, looking at the other aspects of your life, which is your health, and your health is your wealth. If you don't have your health, you can't run a business, right? You cannot live your La Dolce Vita life. And today we're going to be talking about the formula for really creating a powerful self-care practice. And I have my guest on the show, Stacy Fisher-Gunn. So Stacy, thank you so much for being my guest today.
Yes, thank you so much for the invitation.
My pleasure. And you have a book called Uppward, a self-care system for purposeful living. I love that title. That's so awesome.
Yes, I'm excited about it. It's been such a great project to be working on, and we all need a little bit more self-care, I think.
Absolutely. And before we get into today's topic, if you could share a little bit with our audience, what exactly you do and how you help women, especially, you know, women and in taking care of themselves.
Absolutely. So I consider myself a self-care designer. I have a coaching practice. My career started out in traditional healthcare, and I've been a registered dietitian for almost 18 years. And I realized that self-care and our health is a much bigger, it's a puzzle in some ways, because there are all kinds of ways that we can take care of ourselves to really be our best, especially as business owners. So I work with people one-on-one to help them figure out where to put their energy and, you know, how to develop a self-care practice that's meaningful to them on a personal level.
I love that. And I know, you know, my journey as an entrepreneur has not been an easy one. And I can think of times where I did not have any tools or systems to really help me balance, you know, my mental state along with my physical state. And as a result, you know, I felt depleted and I felt unfocused. So how important is it for women entrepreneurs, you know, especially nowadays? I mean, we're so plugged in with technology that we do need a break. We need a kind of self-care practice. So what are some of the things that you find that are happening out there, you know, with busy women entrepreneurs not having this kind of routine for themselves?
Yeah, and it is such, you know, I think one of the most common things I hear is that there's just so much on our plates that we tend to say yes to everything, and all of a sudden there's no space. We don't have room to add anything else. So part of the process that I have developed is to help people understand where the gaps are, as I said. And just to give you maybe a little idea, these 8 dimensions of self-care I call it the rate your 8. So we rate how we're currently doing in our lives. This is something I journal every single morning, Heather. And just to give myself a check-in and say, where, Stacy, do you need to put your energy today? And what do you need to focus on to make sure that you are your best self? So especially for entrepreneurs, it's this idea of setting boundaries and sometimes saying no, which can be difficult. And that's something that I work with my clients on.
I love that. So it's just it's a whole holistic way of running your business. And I do find, like, if you're out of balance, like if you're not taking care of yourself, like you're not learning your boundaries, then that bleeds into other areas of your life. So if you have a family and you're just kind of giving yourself away and you're not giving to yourself, then your business takes a toll. Would you agree?
Absolutely. Yes. And we tend to try to do it all, right? I mean, we want to, feel like we are just successful in all the areas of our life. And sometimes asking for help and finding support in the areas that we aren't the strongest in can make a huge difference in how effective we are in all the other areas of our life.
Yeah, I love that, because I really believe, as an entrepreneur, visionary, like putting myself out there, I cannot do it by myself. And I hire, other mentors and coaches. Like I've hired relationship coaches when I was going through, my issues and my relationships, and helping me, keep in check. And because I found myself being disempowered, like, who is this person? And so I think the value of investing in yourself is so important, especially like you mentioned, women entrepreneurs having so much on their plate. So you had mentioned earlier, like you kind of have like this daily routine and ritual. Like I know for me, one of the first things that I do, I wake up, I read what I call my fabulous statement of inspiration of why I'm here, my purpose. I get into my meditation, do some journaling, but what do you recommend that women do? Because, what I don't want to do, and I'm sure a lot of women out there are doing, is they turn on their emails or they're reading their texts and they're not being mindful in the way that they're, starting their day.
Yes, I couldn't agree with you more. It's, we could start our day putting out fires, and you and I both know that never ends. Once you get in there, you find all these other things to do. And, some of the women who are using this on a regular basis put it in their bathroom. So as you're brushing your teeth, you're thinking about, okay, where do I need to put more of myself today? But that morning start is so important. Just like you, I have a routine in the morning that I have my vision board in front of me, and I have readings that I do, and I do a lot of journaling. So those morning practices are so important to get your day started in the right direction. And I mean, your goals have to be in front of you to know where you're headed.
Absolutely. And I just want everyone that's listening, you've got to have that routine, because that starts the day. If you wake up and, you jump out of bed and you're, oh no, I have to do all these million things, and you're not centered and focused, I find that can really derail you. And even planning the night before, or I actually plan out every Sunday, what am I supposed to do for the entire week, my highest priorities and goals. And I just think that's so critical. And another thing that I find is really, really important, because I have a background in health and fitness. I used to run my own fitness business and nutrition. So let's talk about like nutrition and exercise and how that's also important in keeping us focused and energized and being able to, do the things that we do on a daily basis to run our businesses.
Yes. I mean, we have to fuel our bodies. And so one of the dimensions covers more of that physical health aspect. So to me, that's how we eat, how we move our bodies, and rest. So those three things are what make up this systemic dimension of health. And, I think planning ahead, honestly, I mean, how cram-packed our schedules can get. And if we first put in planning our menu for the week or when we're going to have meals, it's very easy to not have time in your day to have a meal if you don't plan ahead for it. The same goes for taking breaks, taking walks through the day, or planning when you're going to go to the gym, or however you move your body. I find that people are most successful when they get their physical activity done in the morning. That sets the day, and we tend to get off track sometimes. Of course, we're all different, and some people really love that evening time if you can manage to be consistent with it. But I think planning it ahead and having it on your calendar is probably the most important thing that you can do to make sure that you're making healthy choices.
I love that you mentioned, put it in your calendar. Like I tend to be more of like later afternoon, early evening. And if you were to look at my calendar right now, it's all on there. I don't miss a day unless I need a break. I'm like, okay, I'm aching a little bit, or I'm just too tired. I'm just, not feeling like inspired to go to the gym. Then I give myself permission at least one day a week, but I'm working out at the gym, 6 days a week, lifting weights, and of course, fueling my body. So let's talk about like nutrition and some of the things that women could do, to really kind of fuel their body. Because a lot of times what happens is if you're not getting the proper nutrition, your body's going to crash and then you can't be focused in what you're doing.
Yes. And I think that not a lot of people love to cook, but it's simpler than we sometimes make it out to be. In fact, I think we save time when we actually prepare meals at home versus going out, as crazy as that sounds. We still have to wait for a table. We still have to drive to and from. So the most important thing when I work with people is getting the meal plan in place. So if you know you're going to go out to eat for date night, for example, our relationships matter, and maybe you have a date night with your significant other or even a child, so that you're spending quality time with a family member and you want to go out a couple nights a week, you can work that in and still make sure that you're getting healthy foods into your body. But I think what you have on hand at home, and if you're bringing things with you to your appointments and keeping things in your car or your purse, like I always have things with me at all times that I can eat, so that I'm not tempted to go, oh, there's, a drive-through, or I'm going to get coffee during a meeting and there are other tasty things here. If we are planned ahead, we can make better choices.
I definitely agree. I know when I go on vacation, I like to bring my protein powder, my supplements, like everything, just being prepared. And I love what you said, cooking meals ahead of time. Like just the other day, my boyfriend and I came up with, I guess Starbucks sells these sous vide eggs, and he has a sous vide, and it's like, well, why don't we take this a different route and get some like little mason jars and put some egg whites and vegetables and that sort of thing. So we baked them in the oven, and we've got all these jars in the refrigerator. So it's basically a grab and go meal or a snack. I mean, it's so simple. So it's so simple, yet people make it very hard for themselves, and if they don't have a plan.
Yes. And when we go to the refrigerator and we're starving, we don't want to spend the extra time prepping. So if you have something you can literally grab in and you've got a serving size available to you that's easier, then you're absolutely going to eat that. Or fresh fruit on the counter or in your office for that matter. I've worked with folks who bring fruit into their office on a weekly basis so that it's there, and they're choosing that instead of the candy jar at the reception desk.
Absolutely. And being creative, like with recipes, like I'm always finding new ways to make things healthier, like keeping myself and my boyfriend, really healthy. Like it's easy for me because it's just part of who I am. Like recently we're on this protein waffle kick. So I'm going through different formulas of the perfect protein waffle. And it's amazing because it's all protein, little protein, little egg whites. And then we put some fruit on there. And it just, it's just about keeping it simple and being creative, that good food doesn't have to be bad for you, so it's just really about having a plan. Wouldn't you agree? It's just
absolutely
down to having a plan.
I'm glad you said simple, because I think that we tend to overcomplicate eating. And there are many, many different eating styles, if that's what you want to call them, that are healthy. And there is not a perfect eating style or a perfect diet, even though we all, seek something like that. I think when we focus on real food and we have fun with it, and to me, it's kind of an art. Food is so beautiful. And when we think of it, people that don't love to cook, we sometimes reframe it into, it's art, and how can we use the colors, and how can we, change the flavors, and then it becomes more fun. I think it has to be fun. All of what I do with self-care, if it's not something you look forward to, you're probably not going to do it. So as I help people design a plan that makes sense to them, it has to be sometimes a little unusual even, because we want people to be excited about it.
I love that. Yeah, about making it fun. A great example. My boyfriend and I, we love cooking in the kitchen. And so that is cooking, connection, having fun. I'll say, hey, let's try this recipe. And, he loves it. He's like, I have never had this much fun with anyone in the kitchen. And I feel the same way, because I always like to cook healthy. And in the past, I've been in relationships where, we just didn't eat the same. And so now I'm in a very empowered relationship where they get it and they let me drive, and, they can add their wisdom and their flavor to the cooking. So I think that's really great. And that you're, on the same page, helping your clients to design that. Let's kind of switch gears here and talk about, because I know this is really, really important. We talked about having the morning ritual and having, a powerful mental or mindful routine when things get, stressful, you have those stressful thoughts or feelings. So what are some of the strategies that you suggest in helping your clients and that other people can apply, particularly women, because they'll get in their amygdala and get really stressed out. So we definitely need a strategy. So what are some of those strategies that we can implement very easily?
Yeah. So sometimes I refer to our self-care practice as a first aid kit, because it should be full of things that we can fall back on, that we know refill our cup. So all day long we're working and, we're exhausted and we're being pushed to the limits sometimes. And we need to know what refills us, what recharges our batteries. I find women recharge their phones and they're more worried about, some of those external things, and we neglect ourselves. And so when we know ourselves and we understand what does recharge us. For example, I love quiet time and reading. So I know sometimes I just need a few minutes to be by myself in quiet so that I can calm myself. And same could be said for if someone's really extroverted, maybe they just need to be around people and they need to recharge with being around other people and laughing and getting some energy. But physical activity is a great way from a stress standpoint. If you're not able to work through your problem, sometimes just getting up for a 10-minute walk to clear your head and to move your body, it's amazing how that can kind of be a reset. I mean, I think that should almost be on everyone's self-care practice or their plan, is to have just these little breaks to help us with our creativity and problem solving and just overall well-being.
Absolutely. Well, what about, now being in the technology space? It is growing. It is, we're glued to our phones. I know I can be sometimes. And, taking a break from working on the computer, and what are some of those strategies? Because I'm on my computer all day long. So I'm guilty of that. I will tell you, one of the things I do is I take a break and I play with my little chihuahua. So that's fun. But what are some of the other things, those people that don't have chihuahuas, what are some of the other things that we can do to take a break from running our business, especially if you have a business online, and really kind of shift the energy, like just within your own home?
Yeah. So, I visit my chickens out back sometimes. And so I go and talk to them. Yes, animals are fantastic to just spend a little bit of time with. If you can take your chihuahua for a walk, that was even greater too. But I think turning off notifications, for one, for social media, that can be a huge distraction for us. And also putting those walks on your calendar too. So I used to work with a lot of people that worked in the tech world, and of course they live and breathe by their calendars. So when that reminder pops up, it tells them, okay, it's time for you to go for your walk. And it literally chimes so that they know that's their cue to just get up and press the pause button and go move their bodies. So there's a lot of technology that can distract us, but then we can also use it to help us remember what we need to do for ourselves.
I love that. I love that you mentioned turning off your notifications because that is such a distraction. If I'm seeing someone on Facebook pinging me, I've got to turn it off because then I get sucked into that world. And it's all about, it is all about having a strategy, and to me, that is the formula for fabulous living. You can overcome your stress. You can manage anything with the right strategy. And Stacy, I know we've talked about so much about self-care and mindful routines and really helping, especially women entrepreneurs out there that really need this help today. Do you have any final thoughts before we go today? And where can they learn and get your book?
Yeah. So I guess from a final thought is you deserve to have some moments through the day that you are caring for yourself, just like you're caring for all the people you care about in your life. And to me, if we aren't our best selves, we aren't able to give our best to others. And so that's kind of what drives this. I mean, we haven't addressed the elephant in the room that self-care is selfish, and that still, I think, is a very prolific thought. But to me, we owe it to ourselves to be able to bring our gifts to the world and to make a contribution in our lifetime, to take care of ourselves and to be well. So that's kind of, I guess, my final thought on that. My book is called Uppward, and you can find it on Amazon. It basically goes into these 8 dimensions of self-care that I mentioned and helps you, I guess, dig a little bit deeper to see maybe if there are areas of your life that you've been neglecting. I find that people focus really, really heavily on a couple areas. Maybe they're doing fantastic in the financial well-being and their physical, but the relationship, has been neglected because they're immersed so much into these other, maybe their job or whatever. So that can help people dig a little bit deeper and understand themselves and what they need. And my website is Living Upp with 2 P's, livingup.com. And yeah, I would invite people to come and take a look and start to think about how they might design a self-care practice for themselves.
I love that. Well, Stacy, thank you so much for being my guest today.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
And I just want to close out this show. If you're watching over on my website, heatherpicken.com, make sure you click on what I call Pavlov's bell. It's just an indicator with that video so that you can subscribe to this show. And if you're on iTunes, rate, review, and subscribe, because it is my mission to empower millions of women and women entrepreneurs to really own their power and to live the sweet life, which I call La Dolce Vita, the formula for fabulous living. Until next time, this is Heather Picken. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye. So if you found this show to be fabulous, please share with your fabulous friends, rate, review, and subscribe on YouTube and iTunes. And I'll make sure I take a beatbox lesson, right? Or give my little chihuahua a bone. That's me. Fabulous.